Hi, we're going to do an experiment with now a control system, and here we have a block diagram. Block diagram is what we'll use many times, and this block, which is this rectangle here, I've labeled oven, and that's the system that we're studying. It's a customer system, and that's what we need to find out about. The power is the input to the oven. It's measured in percent. So it comes in, its diagram shows it power coming in here, and the information about the temperature in the oven comes out the other side. It's measured by a sensor in the oven, and it's measured in degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature is then also sent along here back to a summation point here. It's supposed to be a circle, and there's two lines coming into it, this one here and this one here. This one has a negative next to it, so it means it subtracts rather than adds. This one adds, and this is called the set point. That's the set point desired temperature of the oven. So let's say we turn our oven temperature set point to 500, and this is a 500, and let's say that the oven has been at 400, so it's at 400. This comes over here, and 400 subtracts from 500 to give 100, plus 100, plus 100 goes into this controller block. This block here represents the controller, where there's some mechanism that tries to control the oven. That's the purpose of it. And this is the one we have here is called an on-off controller. It's worldwide the most common kind of controller ever. Very simple. And if the temperature comes in as a positive number, the delta T, the temperature difference, comes in as a positive number, then this thing turns the controller on. The controller on turns the power to 100% in the oven to heat it up from wherever it was to some higher value. Eventually, if that temperature gets to 501 or anything higher, then this number, 501, comes back to here, subtracted from 500, and we get -1 comes in here to the controller. Negative number tells the on-off controller to send it to off, and so it turns the power off in the oven. And so that entire diagram here is called a closed loop feedback control system diagram. It's closed loop because these lines go around a complete cycle, and it's called feedback because the temperature that, or the signal that comes out of the system is sent back into difference point back here. And this is the controller, and this is the system that we'll be studying. And so what I'm going to do is the temperature now of the oven is 400 degrees, and I'm going to change the set point to 500, and you're going to watch the controller turn the power on and off. There's a light on the oven that turns on when the power's on and turns off when the power's off. So let's look at what the temperature is here in the room. The temperature is now 68.9 degrees. Outside it's 39.6. You can do whatever you want to with that information. But then we go over here to the oven, and here it is sitting at 400. And here is the oven light, and that means the oven is off right now. And here is the preheat light. We'll talk about that later. When I say the oven is off, it means that it is not being heated, that the temperature must be a little bit higher than this set point. Pardon me for that. I'm going to change the set point now to 500. And I want you to observe the time, which is along the bottom of the YouTube video, when that comes on, and it just came on, so that's about 4 minutes and 50 seconds or 4 minutes and 55, something like that. And I want you to observe the oven light coming on and coming off for about the next 10 or 15 minutes. And here's a preheat light. That's to be ignored. I should have put a piece of tape over that so you don't even see it. I'm not interested in the preheat light at all. I'm just interested in the oven light, which tells when the controller has turned on the power to the oven and when it turns off the power to the oven. So I want you to take the time on the video when it comes on and when it goes off and keep a record of that. That beeping was when the preheat went off. As I said before, the preheat can be totally ignored, so don't worry about that at all. The light on means that the controller has turned on the power to the oven. That means that the temperature of the oven must be lower than 500 right now, and it's heating up. And when it reaches 501, any number higher than 500, the controller will say, "Oh, hot enough," so it turns the power off. So continue to watch this for another 8 or 9 minutes and see when it goes on and goes off. Make a note of it. Alright, notice it went off at about 12:43 or 12:44 time on the YouTube video. Then watch it until it comes back on and mark down what the time is for that. Okay, so there it came on. I'm going to stop this video at 16 minutes, and then in about 2 or 3 seconds after 16 minutes, I'll start a new video. And I want you to continue watching this operation for another 10 minutes or so.